I'm Al Levine, the talking machine. Chip the Prophet Hayner is at a concert right now. I got Zach Brenner here, switching it up in his seat like he wants it, and Smoking Jim Fraser's in the same seat. Welcome to another edition of Pittsburgh Sportsline. We appreciate you watching us throughout the communities. I got a lot of great feedback the last week or so. People watching us on Comcast in Bethel Park. Shout out to all of you, and I can't remember everybody's name. I know who you are, but I didn't write it down. Thank you very much. We appreciate it. I also want to shout out to Mary Ann at Azazu. Gave me a nice cut today. Plenty of hair was on the floor. Joyce, who lives in Bethel Park, she said, "What time's the show?" I said 7 o'clock. She goes, "I'll be watching it." So thanks, Joyce. Hope you're watching the show. Appreciate it. All of you can watch us on Verizon 32 from Nemacolin to Wexford and Cranberry. And we know we're getting a lot of people watching this Tuesday night show, Zach, because I run into a few people over the weekend, and they said they enjoy the show here with us. And I go, "Which one? In the bars?" They go, no, not the interview show. I go, "Well, that's the most popular show." And they said, "Hey, Al, between you and Jim, you two are the greatest." And I go, "Really? Anybody else?" They said, "You two are the best." So I go, "Thank you, folks." I looked on YouTube, and believe it or not, the amount of views are dropping. So whatever Brenner is doing, he's not posting it anywhere. He's not even telling anybody. I'm giving him the link. Please, will you like our Tuesday night show and watch it on YouTube for the son I never knew I had that I can't get rid of. Little Z, Zach Brenner, the Amish assassin. Brenner Contracting, all of the above, coach of the Gladiators, owner of the Gladiators football team, and I know I forgot a couple other things. Well, we're having some fun. Spring's in the air. We don't know what John the Tiger Kiger, he's in rare form. Zach, thanks for coming in to help us out. That's young Zach. We got old Zach here next to me at 30. So we're going to continue with our show. We got a lot of great sports. I'm a little nervous for the Penguins. We'll have some talk about that. They play at 7:30, so don't change that dial. Chief, enjoy your dinner. Hope you're having a good dessert like we had. Zach, what was the name of that dessert we had tonight?
Tiramisu.
Well, he had creme brulee the other day, and it's stuck in his mind because he was at a restaurant that's very good. But thanks to Olive Oil's Pizzeria. Check this out. 412-831-1900. My man Stan fixed us up with a pizza. And then my man Micah there. We had the best tiramisu I've had tonight. It was just awesome. Smoking Jim even had it. I said, "Do you even know what it is?" He goes, "Let me try some of that." What'd you think, Smoking Jim?
Very good. Tiramisu.
Nice little treat. Call them up. They have pizza, salads. You name it, they got it. Very good, very fresh. Olive Oil's Pizzeria. 412-831-1900.
Where's that located at?
Hillcrest Shopping Center. Everybody in Bethel Park knows where that's at. Don't you worry, Zach. I cut through Brewster's. It took me exactly 1 minute and 48 seconds to get here. Okay, we got some other promos. I was at a great event with the legendary Johnny Halo, Jessica Lee, Eric DeFade, Rick Purcell. Some of these guys have been guests, Mark Strickland, and they put on quite a performance at the James Street. He actually made a shirt, listen to this, Zach, called a Blues Devil shirt for Jessica Lee. And guess what? It brought her luck. That's her team, Duke. I know you hate Duke, but this is America, so you can do it. Check out the Johnny Angel's Ginchy store on California Avenue. Hey, thanks for getting my head in there pretty good. I guess that was it. All right, we'll go to the next promo. On What's on Our Mind, if you can get this is our special sponsor, Skeets Lewandowski.
I'm working on a better one.
This is the Green Levine, 724-348-4715. I measured it out by walking, Zach. It's about 5 miles away down the road on 88 in Finleyville. Not that far away. Ran into a few Bethel Park people there. Show up on Mondays. You can eat Bethel Bakery donuts with Skeets. and he's smoking cigarettes and everything. He should cut down on that. But they're our sponsor, and it's a better promo online. I got a couple more to do. This is our big one on the gas grill. John the Tiger Kiger, you're doing an excellent job there. Can you pull in there?
Out a little bit. Can we get the grill in there, John?
This is a nice stainless steel Weber grill, $650 grill. EV Hardware donated it. You can pick up tickets there. Raffle tickets, $1 per ticket. The drawing is June 8th. City Council. Bethel Park Mayor Jack Allen will pull the winning ticket on a live show. So no shenanigans there. Then we got this huge event, Zach, for all your bingo playing friends and family. This is the place to be. Pull in on this, John. Designer purses bingo. I mean, thousands of dollars worth of purses, raffle tickets, baskets, you name it. This is all for the scholarship fund here in Bethel Park. So guys like John the Tiger Kiger and others, even Devin Shea, Matt No-Show Harkins, Z-Dog, Chris, and our new guy, Jake, that just come out tonight. Shout out to Jake. Tell Dr. J we said hello at the high school. Little Jimmy said hi. And that's it for my promos. Hope you check out these places. Hey, and if you need a ticket, I just reloaded. So we got Devin Shea. Hey, I got 70 more tickets here. Did you get a picture of this? How are we doing there?
How many? Did you buy some tickets for that bingo?
I seen the
They're $25 a ticket.
Bags, you got all those ladies.
You got to go there and you got to play. You get 10 games. I didn't know you guys would ask.
Well, I like that commercial you're on for the grill. That was nice. I've seen that.
Did you like it? Mm-hmm. Okay, well, thanks.
Why is he always the only one in all the promos?
Well, because you're out all over America promoting Brenner Contracting and Pittsburgh Sportsline.
That's right.
But no, I can't find where that's at, man. Hey, John, can you get a close-up here? I'm not seeing it. Yeah, close-up on that big cranium.
You can't miss it, John.
There it is. If you don't see him with one of these, it's his card, because I need some more. I'm down to my last 3.
You know he's reluctantly passing those out in his place.
If you two give me those cards.
I'm still selling more.
That'll be the bane of me, Devin Shea. Come on, give me a call, 412-831-3304. I'll save some tickets. They're going fast. All right, we got to do our first segment. What's on our mind? Smoking Jim Frazier, what's on your mind?
Thanks, Al Levine, the talking machine. And if you want the green, you got to see Levine. My old high school option quarterback days.
Fumble.
But what's on my mind is I'm extremely disappointed in Andrew McCutcheon.
What?
You know, he called a major news conference to announce that he cut his hair. That's not news. News would be if you finally hit a home run in the playoffs. Now, that's news. You know, I'm tired of hearing that Andrew McCutcheon, Sidney Crosby are better than Big Ben Roethlisberger. Here's some news. Nobody is better than Big Ben. You know, the Pirates have a very average pitching squad. You know, right now the Pirates would be better off bringing back Zach Duke, Ron Malone, and Todd Ritchie. You know, a great catcher is worth 5 to 7 extra wins a year, especially to a young pitching squad. The Pittsburgh Pirates had a great catcher in Russell Martin. They let him go. So Pittsburgh, welcome to 80 and 82. And that's what's on my mind.
That was riveting.
Smoking Jim, the only thing good and honest that you said was when you closed out with a pause. And for all you folks that are math majors, 80 and 82 are 162. Now, I have to do a disclaimer on my man. He can't say that he's ever watched a full baseball game in his life. Okay.
Hey, on that opening statement, though, you wouldn't know that. You would think that he was studying cuts left and right.
Well, he actually did it for a good cause.
He named Zach Duke.
Wait, the only reason he named Zach Duke is because your name is Zach, because he's about the giggles. And McCutch donated his hair. It was a fundraiser type thing, and I'm all for that, as you know. So he missed the boat there. And the pitching staff was rated like number 2 at the beginning of the season. And Smoking Jim's a scout. So I don't know. You might have to call in. If you want some fiction, we got it. Okay? And the fact was 162 games. Don't panic yet. Although the sandbox is creeping up on me. And I mean really creeping up on me. So, Zach Brenner, what's on your mind besides Pirates?
There we go. There he is. Well, folks.
What happened to the color on that?
I hate to disappoint, but we gave it our best run in Cincinnati, and we came up short. And now I'm looking forward to Latrobe in August and July for the beginning of Steelers training camp. But what's really on my mind, because it's obviously not baseball.
Why'd you say it then?
Your Pittsburgh Penguins. Because after we lose the first game of the year, the season's over. But what's really on my mind is the Pittsburgh Penguins. We got a big game tonight against the Ottawa Senators. And had it not been for some untimely injuries, it wouldn't come down to what it's came down to, Levine. Would you imagine that we are like 3-12 down the stretch here?
I read that stat, and that's the truth.
It is the truth. And those are statistics that don't lie, Mr. Shea, in the control room. But hopefully there's not a power outage tonight, because I also heard some stats where we're having a pretty good year when Hornquist, Crosby, and Malkin all suit up. But when one of those three don't play, it's a whole different story. So all 3 of those players are skating tonight. Marc-Andre Fleury is in goal. We're going to need every bit of luck that we could possibly get in Ottawa tonight. We're playing against that goalie that came out of nowhere from the AHL, Hammond. He's getting free McDonald's for life. So hopefully he ate a whole bunch of McDonald's tonight before we play, Levine.
He does not get indigestion.
And that's what's on my mind. Marc-Andre Fleury. Let's go, baby. Earn that paycheck tonight, boys.
Very good. On the second part. The first part, another guy here. I don't know if he's watched one game of baseball in his life because he's not patient at all. But I would make a sound bet that he hasn't watched one complete baseball game unless he was forced to by his mother, Zach Brenner. So with no further ado, it's a 162-game season. So the Pirates will have a winning record, Smoking Jim. Their team is not going back to Zach whoever and whatever other guys you say. And the disrespect to Ben is mostly because of Ben, as I've said. I just settled an argument on the other day that my sister that you guys haven't met, she called me up, texted me, said a couple friends of hers are having an argument with what do I think of Big Ben. Well, as a person, I said I'd rather not say anything because he did have to get married because they forced him to. He did have 2 children, so now he looks like a family man. He did sign a $96 million contract. So those are all good things for the Steelers and the team. If he had an offensive line for the last 5 years, I think we would have had 3 Super Bowls at least. And that's the only difference there. Now, can he extend plays? Yes, sometimes too much. But if you have a line and you have somewhat of a running back, then he's going to last a lot longer. To sign a contract like he did, I still think he has 5 more years of prime 4,000 to 5,000 yards, Smoking Jim.
I do too.
So whether he's the best ever, I don't know. Should we win some Super Bowls? For sure. But you stole some of my thunder with that, so I went with the Big Ben. But the Buccos will make the playoffs with the wild card again. 3 years in a row. History in the making. When these young kids were watching it, they said, we've never had a winning team. Now they're disrespectful of a winning team because then they add excuses like they added an extra wild card. Isn't baseball great? Have a nice night.
They're already under 500.
You don't even make any sense here. It's unbelievable. I'm not even mentioning what school you're from, and when you lose a couple games, you guys didn't even figure out what record you did have. You didn't care. Or you walked off, or somebody else walked out, whatever. So that's what happened. Let's go to our segments. We're going to start with one of my favorite segments. We've had all the fiction. I'm waiting for some fact. This is Smoking Jim Frazier with his fiction and fact.
You know what? There's a couple different directions.
I didn't want to say it.
Couple different directions I wanted to go today, but
okay, tell us your fiction and fact from Smoking Jim's Almanac. Change it up.
I changed up, and here's what I actually decided on, and I'll probably take a little bit of heat for it, but it's very interesting.
Not you.
Very interesting story. In 1987,
way back.
You know, Gateway had probably the greatest football team in school history.
Was that the year you graduated?
In 1996, Gateway won the state championship, and they were ranked number 3 in the nation, USA Today. Well, the 1987 team was 10 times better. It was headed by a guy named Curtis Bray, the late, great Curtis Bray, who actually won the USA Today National Player of the Year. So he's one of the greatest players, not only in the state history, but in the history,
where are you on
in the history of high school football in this country.
I'm vital to that.
But in 1987, it was the first year of a new high school called Woodland Hills High School. And that high school was made up of 8 different school districts. It was Churchill, Swissvale, Rankin, Braddock, North Braddock, Edgewood, General Braddock, and Turtle Creek. And on that team, my brother was one of the star running backs, and my dad was actually the parent booster president. And so Woodland Hills was supposed to play all their high school games at Churchill High School's stadium, which held about 5,000. But Churchill was under renovation. So for the first year, they was playing at the old broken down Wolverina that didn't have any running water, that didn't have any locker rooms for the home or visiting teams, very little parking. But the stadium held 25,000 people. They didn't have any lights, so they played a Saturday afternoon game. Before the game, my dad rented an airplane to fly over to drag a sign that says Gateway's #1. Well, Woodland Hills upset Gateway that day, and probably the biggest upset in high school history at that particular time. And because of that, Woody High Mania was created, and they decided to play all of their games at the Wolverina because of that, because they needed the capacity of 10,000 to 25,000 fans, and Churchill could only hold 5,000. So that was the birth of the Wolverina on 1987 when they defeated Gateway High School. What a great game. And that's the fiction and fact from Smoking Jim's Almanac. Took 8 schools and 1 to bring down the Mighty Gators.
And your dad spent some money on an airplane.
Yeah, and he also had his thumb on a few extra dollars too. we didn't mind that presidency at all.
I'm gonna go out on a limb, and I'm gonna say that there's a lot more fiction than fact in that edition.
That's all fact, brother.
In that rendition.
If he says it's all fact, we got trouble.
In that rendition.
Well, thanks, Smoking Jim. That was an interesting one.
Thank you, sir.
I'll try to sleep on that one and figure out what actually happened there.
All fact, brother.
I just want to know where you ran a plane at back in 1987.
1987, the parent boosters got together, and there was a lot of money going through that parent booster sport that they raised
let me figure out.
Sponsorship
25,000 people at a game.
At that particular game,
$2 or $3 a ticket.
And that was a away game. That was at the Wolverina.
You're talking 50 to 75,000 K just there.
Oh, yeah, easy over.
With a $3 ticket.
Yeah, that wasn't even 50-50 back in them days. You could have really made some money, yeah.
Wow.
And it was,
I've never seen, well, the year before when Gateway beat the #1 team in the country, North Hills, at Three River Stadium, they said there was 25,000 people there, which set a record for a WPIL championship game. But being that Three Rivers held 50,000, you knew it was a great crowd. But in the Wolverina,
There was so many people, 25,000 people, and they didn't have the stands like they had. People were all on the hillsides all over the place.
I have one question. Where were you sitting at?
Well, I was just out of a baby stroller probably in them days. But,
man.
But I was actually sitting on...
He was at the Sadie Hawkins dance at the Homewood Coliseum. He wasn't anywhere to be caught dead.
I can't even justify it saying his mama was changing his diaper, but I don't think that's true. But what can you do? Thanks, Smoking Jim, especially for the additional insights on where you might have been. Strolling around. All right, no Chip trivia time tonight. He's at a Neil Diamond concert, enjoying himself in the Tribune Review box with his wife Stephanie. So,
how funny is that? He's in the Tribune Review box.
What do you mean?
Well, you're a Post Gazette guy.
The Post Gazette doesn't own a box there.
I don't mind, man. He didn't get it.
Yeah.
I got it. I just ignored it. I used to go in that Post Gazette box when they had it, right behind home plate. It was great. I had many a nice meal and great conversation with my adversaries.
Did you ever eat a meal with Kevin McClatchy?
No, he was sitting down with his friends behind home plate.
I thought you said the box was behind home plate.
They're up higher. You have to get the lay of the land. When you get into one of those, Chip will tell you all about it, so can't wait for next week.
I'm going to write that down and ask him.
Ask him.
That'll be a whole 30-minute segment.
All right, I can't wait we're skipping right to Z time. What's on Z? Before you do that, to show how my guys are, Smoking Jim is rocking a pirate hat.
Yes, sir.
So obviously he thinks they're going to win more than 80 games. Nobody wears a hat if a team's not a winning team. Come on. It is a nice looking pirate hat.
Oh, thank you, sir.
That's not true, Living, because a lot of people wore a lot of pirate merchandise for 20 years, and they were perennial losers.
You
should know you were wearing them. Your mom kept buying them for me, and you threw the bat and baseball out all the time, she told me. You wouldn't even keep it in your room. But now you got winning teams, and you still won't. Old habits are bad to break.
In my defense, in my generation's defense, when it comes to the team on the North Shore, the Pittsburgh Pirates, it's kind of hard to defend them when you grew up with the likes of the Chin and Bill Cowher running things over on the North Shore, and you grew up with the greats of Badger Bob and the early '90s with the Penguins. So as far as the Pirates go, they've made so many blunders, Levine. Well, why can't you guys, you baseball guys, come clean and say that they've made so many blunders with some of their moves and transactions, even before this current genre?
Can I say something?
Yes.
I am clean. I was disgruntled after a couple of years. I used to make a bet that they would have a losing record because they weren't doing it right. But I'm always a Pirate fan because the history here from 1887, plus me playing baseball and the Steelers were the same old Steelers. I don't want to keep digressing and telling that story. We were always disappointed with the ownership and McClatchy, so he saved the team, but they didn't have good teams. They constantly dumped salaries. They were constantly getting players that were washed up. It was a troubling time. So there's no doubt about that. And as far as you guys, there's something wrong that you're that old and stubborn at 30 years old that you can't embrace a winning team. If your Steelers are 8-8, you're all about no hate. I like the Steelers. No hate.
You know what? It's hard to compare an apple to an orange, but I will say this.
Did.
Smoking Jim Frazier, who do you feel more confident in a one-game situation, winner moves on? The Steelers in football or the Pirates in baseball?
Steelers in football.
Correct. So
he's never seen a baseball game.
With that
what
said,
kind of scout is that?
With
That's
that
like
said,
talking apples.
Because he knows.
That's like having a mango and an
orange. He
orange.
had season tickets for the Steelers. He's a scout for the Steelers. He knows the grooves on those smooth hands of his on his palms.
If anybody's
that
watching
the Steelers
this show,
are gonna bring it no matter what. Since 94, 95, like we've been bringing it. So the same old Steelers. They had a little backlog. But the Pirates were terrible for 20 straight years. So forgive me, it might take me 5 years. 5 years of winning.
40 years.
If they win 5 straight years, 5 straight years, 5 straight years of winning.
At Steel Valley, I know you graduated. Now, they did have a math course, right? And you're a businessman. Now, I want to weigh this on a scale. 40 years of losing against 20 years of losing. What's worse?
Are you comparing the Steelers to the Pirates, Levine?
You're talking about it. I'm bringing up 40 years of losing.
What coincided the 40 years of losing, though? What coincided it? One of the greatest runs in franchise history of all franchises went off on a tear after those 40 years of losing. So you're telling me if you got to sit through 40 years of that to get to that, then I'm all for it. But the Pirates, you sat through 20 years of it, and we can't even win one game and continue on.
What do you mean? You must be actually delusional and delirious. There's how many games in a season with the Steelers? Let's do a little math.
I'm talking about the Pirates in the playoffs.
Well, there's 16 games. We're talking one game this year. Last year's over. Do you look in the past all the time? I think you have an issue here.
He got a whole segment dedicated to talking about the past.
And you just roll the tape back. Wait, can we move the tape back
Chip
a little?
Trivia. That's all about the past. Shame on me for
Can we move the tape back?
Run it back.
Didn't Zach say that all that history was more fiction than fact? You're proving my point right again. You can't have both sides of every argument. What's going on here?
Listen, Levine.
What?
The Pirates have to prove themselves that they want to remain consistently at the top. And if that's what they're working on right now,
at the top.
If that's what they're and at least at the top of the Central Division.
They're not
I didn't
there
say
yet.
they got to run
They're not there yet.
Okay.
Come on, man. They're not there. They're winners now. All we wanted was winners. You got winners now. They won more games than they lost.
You know, if all we wanted was winners, how come Jamie Dixon's on the hot seat over in Oakland? He consistently wins 19, 20 games, you know?
Guys like you.
Exactly. I want more than just 19, 20. I want to go deep. I want to win something that matters. Not you pay to get in tournaments and to continue playing or get bounced out of the NIT against Robert Morris. No, Robert Morris made the big dance. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that was disrespectful. I'm glad you corrected that.
I corrected myself.
I was ready to jump on it. You know, I'm pretty sharp today.
He is.
Even though the hair got cut.
He's more aerodynamic now when he fights. He got his hair.
Me and Kutch got the clip, and we're still strong.
No, take that back, because Kutch got the clip, and we lost our first game of the season.
Kutch hit a 2-run homer to tie the game in the eighth.
It wasn't enough. It was not enough. They didn't do anything for the first 8 innings.
This is unbelievable.
They had a power shortage, Levine. You know it. Pedro's already off to a bad start.
That happens. Baseball's 162 games. You got to learn the nuances of how slow a game and season develops. I mean, it's like watching the Muddy River and the Allegheny going down there and the Clear River and the Monongahela going into the Ohio. It takes a while for it to happen. Just wait. You'll have winners here. Have no fear. The Pirates are here.
All right. We'll take your word for it, sir.
All right, thanks. I'm glad we educated y'all on that. And if you want to voice your opinions, you can see we're a little weak tonight with just 3 of us, 412-831-3304. Whose phone was that?
That was not mine.
It wasn't mine. Mine doesn't sound like that. And whatever Devin Shea and the control room and Matt No-Show Harkins are sending me, none of it's getting on air. They lied to me once, that's it. Their credibility's shot.
We're about 2 minutes away from hopefully the start of this Penguin game in Ottawa, so that's a perfect time to segue into some Penguin talk, Levine. What are your thoughts going into tonight's game in Ottawa?
Penguins need to win tonight or win out, because then they're in trouble. There's only 3 games left. By whatever reason they got there, we all watched it. I can't even watch a full game now. When they're winning a game and the score's tied, I leave the room. And I'm a Penguin fan. I predicted they'd get far in the playoffs. Now I don't even know if they can make it. And why do I say that? Because of some common sense. They're not playing as a team. Luckily, Sidney Crosby, I don't know how he did it. People are bum-rapping him like crazy. Do you know what he's doing? He's leading the NHL in points. And then some naysayers will go, but he's not scoring a lot of goals.
Well, I'll have you know for a fact here tonight, folks, that this is the season in hockey. This has been the lowest scoring season, Smoking Jim, since the Kennedy administration.
Really?
Going that far back. Yes, goal scoring is down. It goes that far back.
Definitely, but our problem is our goal scoring is like nada. There's like zero.
Well,
nil.
I'm just talking across the board.
I know,
as
but
as a
that's
whole.
part of the problem. No, and I recognize that. I think I brought it out on one of the shows that scoring has been down across the league. And that's what happens when you change rules and you're allowed to grab now and make it like a garage league, which Lemieux said you shouldn't have. So I guess that went by the wayside.
I dispel that a little bit, Levine, because the teams that are excelling, they're finding ways to circumvent the finesse and the skill is still paramount right now in the league, and being able, like I said, to roll off 4 even lines that can all produce something is really key to going forward right now in the NHL. But the Penguins tonight, key to victory. The Stars got to be stars tonight. They got to align tonight in Ottawa. It's sad that it came down to this.
I want them to just score one more goal than the other team. That's all. I don't care how many it is. That's how I keep score. You have one more than your opponent. And that'll keep it very simple, and they'll be in the playoffs. Win it tonight. Hope they scored in the first minute. Maybe we'll get an update. You better get it from Devin Shea and Matt No-Show because I'm not accepting their texts.
But I don't think that any of the blame for this season could heap down on the goalie. I think Marc-Andre Fleury played about as fantastic as you could expect from your franchise goalie. I just think that sometimes there's too many injuries to overcome, and it's even impressive that they're even in a position to still make the playoffs with as many injuries as they've succumbed to. So hopefully tonight there's not a power outage up in Canada and the Canadians that we have on the team.
Well, if there's a power outage, I hope it's on the Canadian side, not on the U.S. side, because we need that. We need some goals. I'd like to see a 5-goal game. I'm tired of these 4-1 games against us.
It's going to be a playoff atmosphere tonight, folks, in Ottawa. So buckle up here and
Ottawa's
hopefully
been
the
on a
Penguins.
heck of a streak, so you got to give them credit. They have a young team. They may not even make the playoffs, but they've had a heck of a run so far. So you got to give them credit. And it just goes to show you have some healthy players and they want to play, they can score.
And when you get a goaltender that goes off on an incredible run, as Hammond has gone off on, it also makes it a little bit easier. But hopefully the psyche of Marc-Andre Fleury is in line tonight, and he plays as well as I know he can.
If anything, I don't know why he's not shell-shocked with everything he's put through. I saw so many breakaways on him. And how do you have these guys in front of the net that they're not in front of the guy that's on the other team? That's what always amazes me. You were a goaltender. Don't you want a guy in front of the opponent just a little bit so the shot can't be straight on or an angle or whatever else to get behind you? And I don't see that a lot of times.
And you can attest to also that there's not a lot of guys on this team that are jumping down and trying to block shots either.
No.
You notice on other teams, a lot of our pucks sometimes don't even get to the net. Because guys are blocking shots and deflecting shots.
There might be 27 of them in a game that
but
don't even get up there.
Let me ask you this, Levine. Don't you think that Marc-Andre Fleury should have played in Philadelphia?
Yes.
I
was all about that.
I agree.
It's near the end of the season. You need a win.
Yep. And the Flyers have very little life, and they're not making it, so why?
But here's the thing. Anytime they play the Penguins, they're full of life.
Correct.
Their coach is even fired up. Makes a big difference. No, I hear you. Smoking Jim, you want to chime in on a little hockey time? Because I know you watched this once.
Well, I'm a big time hockey fan, and like I said, a lot of people laughed at me a few weeks ago when I said that Crosby, even though he's having an off season for him, he was still leading the league in points. But
did you check 2 sources on that? Or just one?
It's just one source.
Oh, it was right. Your source was right on that one.
Right on that one. But if the Penguins win tonight in regulation, they're in the playoffs.
You must have been listening to the radio.
So I'm a hockey fan. Nobody believes me, but
none of your sweeties have ever told me that. They can't even put the radio on.
Well, to segue, since we were talking about Philadelphia, a little segue here, folks, for anybody that's maybe not as familiar with boxing as you would like to be. This Saturday on NBC, on Saturday night, there's going to be a Premier Championship Boxing, and Danny Garcia, whom in his last fight me and Levine happened to be in attendance at his last fight.
Brooklyn.
Was against our good friend and buddy Rob Lightning Solka.
Yeah.
Well, Danny Garcia is going to get a better test on Saturday night against Lamont Peterson. So
Somebody in his weight class?
somebody that that's going to offer up a little bit more of a fight. But with those no-look hooks that Danny Garcia throws, I don't know too many guys that are able to go toe-to-toe with Danny. But if you got NBC basic cable, it's going to be on for free on Saturday night. So that's great exposure.
I'm staying home to watch that then.
This past Saturday on CBS, there was 2 fights. Donna Stevenson fought, so they're trying to bring back boxing to the mainstream and put it on national TV and give it to the masses. But what I'm impressed with the most is that they're putting together some good fights and putting good fights out to the masses, Smoking Jim, not just, Sammy Vasquez versus, Joe the Butcher down the street. So they're putting together some quality
I didn't
cards.
understand your point anymore.
Some quality cards.
I'm confused. They all seem like good fights when we see local guys stepping up.
Tell Marianne to not cut too much hair off because it's affecting your balance, your equilibrium between your ears. But like I said, for those who aren't familiar with boxing, tune in on Saturday night on NBC, and you'll be in for.
Is BC going to be there for anything? Because usually you got a little finger in on this action here, a piece of the pie. What do you got going on there? What angle is it now?
Lamont Peterson is the guy with the beard like you, right?
Yeah, from Washington, D.C.
Yeah, okay.
How's that looking, Smoking Jim? You know about him.
Garcia wouldn't fight a guy unless he figured he was favored to win, so he must have seen.
You mean like Mayweather?
Yeah, Mayweather handpicks his fighters. But I tell you what, the fight that impressed me with Mayweather, not to change the subject.
Gears.
But here's what the only fight that really impressed me with Mayweather. Well, when he beat the red-headed Mexican.
That's Canelo Alvarez.
Yeah, but the one that really impressed me, and I didn't think he had any chance of beating Gotti. And he said before the fight that Gotti was an amateur, and he made him look like an amateur. I was surprised because Gotti's tough. But Father Time, 38 years old, and he's going to have to work because Pac-Man's one of the hardest workers. He's 36, but
he was close.
But Mayweather never really had to work in the fight. Nobody puts the pressure and throws the amount of punches that you're going to see from Pacquiao. But then again, Pacquiao got a tendency to go to sleep in the ring. So.
Well, there's a reason why they call.
When's that fight again?
That's May 2nd.
May 2nd.
I'll be. Hopefully, if I get the call,
you're gonna be there.
If I get a call, I'll be with the Steelers. But my phone's been silent so far.
The way you disrespect him.
Well, I had all intentions on going to Ivy for the May 2nd bout, but now I'm gonna have to come up with a new plan and a new destination for May 2nd, Levine. So I'll come up with something for us, buddy. Don't you worry.
I'm a little
nervous. We'll be somewhere.
Maybe it could be one of our locations. Maybe Duke's Rib House and Grill will be there next week. Come on out to Duke's Rib House and Grill Monday night. We got some great guests there. I even got an inventor. Wait till you see what he invented, Zach. You're going to like this.
Really?
Yeah.
You're going to leave us in suspense?
Oh, without a doubt. I don't tell you guys everything because you don't tell me nothing.
Well, we owe apology to Bill Boyce. One of his models came out last night. So.
What do you mean?
They thought.
Where did they go when they were told we didn't have a show?
Well, we never announced it at the Smokehouse.
I told everybody that was listening and talking to me we don't have a show the next week.
At the Smokehouse?
Yeah, anybody that was there.
Okay, because we weren't sure we were still working on something.
And apparently there's some kind of MMA going on in the parking garage down at the Meadows. Have you ever heard any news of this?
Yeah, I did. I got
Scott
a media pass.
Did you?
So did you.
Oh, yes.
Jamie Chesney from In Your Face MMA got media passes.
I like her style.
So what happened?
There's King of the Cage fights on April 25th.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
At the Meadows.
At the Meadows.
Really?
And then obviously...
the boxing?
No, cage fighting.
Cage?
It's going to be cage fighting done. But obviously, like I said, I made the announcement last week. May 16th, we'll be back down at the Meadows. Team Solka, Jason Bergman and company are all going to be fighting on a card May 16th.
Wow.
So,
nice.
Hopefully, you guys get the call from Frank Luca to broadcast.
I don't think we'll get
something.
any calls. I'm not hearing any calls. You would think by now you'd hear something.
Well, then maybe we need to make some calls.
I got a phone number here. Here, look at this. I think his phone has it. Let me see.
Give him a call and see what's.
Penguins scored.
Penn score. Can we get a confirmation on who scored the goal, John?
Can you ask them, please?
Who scored the
I don't
goal?
trust them.
Who? Sidney Crosby.
Frank Luca.
That's what it's going to take, folks. I told you, the Stars got to play big
Don't
tonight.
count your chickens before they hatch. Unless they get 3 goals, they're
And you know
15
that's the worst lead in hockey.
No, but they've actually said this year, I heard a stat, that when they score 3 goals, they're 15-1, provided they hold the team to under 3 goals. So anytime that they've held the team, when they score 3, now I know this is a lot of convoluted stuff. Look that up in the dictionary. Is that convoluted? Don't open it up. You hate the smell. But if they stop the team from scoring more than 3 goals and they score 3 goals, listen to this for a stat. 15-1. Now that's a nice record. Boy, that control room's so loud. Can you try to shut your speaker down a little?
Now, I know for a fact that Smoking Jim turned in a whole bunch of brackets, but I know you didn't have Duke on any of your brackets winning the whole thing.
I had Duke going to the Final Four, but I had Arizona getting beat by Kentucky in the Final Four, and I think I had Kentucky beating Duke.
Did you watch the national title game last night?
No, I was out on the road. I called Al Levine. I ain't even know.
Do you know the game's on? I'm watching the game. It was a great game. I watched that whole game. I was so disappointed that Kentucky was out of it. But Smoking Jim reminded me, he goes, when you pick Kentucky, you said, don't count Duke out, that they may be the other team that could win it.
That was good.
So I didn't hedge my bet, but I did make a
Nobody
comment.
had Duke.
That Duke was it's on the film.
And since you watched the whole game, the coach for Wisconsin, Ryan, took exception to the officiating. Did you see any questionable officiating
on both
in
sides
that game?
of the ball? Yeah,
really,
definitely. My dad used to sit and watch basketball games, and my dad would critique the referee. So I just do it by nature, just out of respect for what he would do. And there's so many walking calls that you could have made, both teams. There were things they let Kaminsky get away with all the time. When Kaminsky got tired towards the end, and all of a sudden they had a power outage. They were looking for any call. Did Winslow touch the ball with a fingernail? Yes, he touched it. There was no doubt about it. You could tell, anybody that's watched sports, when a ball's going one way and it's spinning and somebody touches it, it'll stop and maybe change direction a little. That happened. They showed the replay, half a dozen times? You were watching it by then. There was no doubt. Did that change the game? Maybe. But there were so many calls in the first half, early the second half, throughout the whole game. There were calls on both sides. And I always think it's sour grapes when you're saying that, and it sounds that way even if it's true. What do the great teams and great coaches say?
I was
just playing the game.
I was just impressed that 60 of Duke's 68 points came from freshmen. Did you know that, Smoking Jim Frazier, last night?
You know who told you that?
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. One and done. Rent a place.
And listen to this stat. Here's an even better stat, that all of the points scored by Duke in the second half were all freshman points.
Really?
So,
why ain't they go to Kentucky?
Because
Coach K stealing them young brothers.
Grayson Allen
role model.
Didn't even know, he didn't play in the first game when they played Wisconsin because Suleiman got caught up in some trouble and had to quit school.
Well, he should have actually not been eligible for the whole season.
Right. So Grayson Allen actually was nowhere. Look at what that young kid did. He scored 18 points in all the games previously in the NCAA finals. Scored 16 in one game.
Yeah, he scored 18 points the whole tournament. Yeah. And then last night he dropped 16 in the championship effort.
Especially when they were down by 9. Just that alone. Mm-hmm. And then for Jones to
come
on like
he did.
And what kind of comment is it for the coach of Wisconsin? I mean, they give you 9 minutes to calm down before you got to take the podium. But to get on one and dones or whatever, like he knows going in that it's not, the senior class versus, it's the whole, all 4 years.
Well, it's like some people when they're stubborn and they're not used to change. Mm-hmm. It's nothing wrong with getting freshmen there that can play ball. You can't guarantee anybody will stay, But when the NBA is dangling millions of dollars after your freshman year, why don't they make a rule you have to be a sophomore eligible after your sophomore season?
I agree. That way,
At least they took the high school factor out of it, though, because that was even insanity. When they were letting these kids come out of high school and become big money.
Why? Let them make money.
Well, here's
look at
my
the card,
thing.
though, KG.
I think it's wrong. I think you should be able to go straight from high school. But if you go to college, like El said, maybe you should be allowed to stay 2 years. That way you at least get your associate degree.
I don't think they're worried about their associate degree or any degree. There's no way, except who my agent's going to be.
I mean, there's cases that could be made on both sides. I mean, there's players like Carmelo Anthony that didn't go to straight to the league. They went to college and they won a national championship with Syracuse that they haven't had to forfeit back yet. I'll keep you in mind. So as far as I know right now, Smoking Jim, the Syracuse Orange still have that national championship.
And I don't know why. With all the things that went on there, I do not know why. That's why when you had Emmerich up on stage, I don't know if you heard him talk. He's the charge of the NCAA. There's a criminal there, and he seems like one. Look, he won't talk that much. He defers to everybody else. He's in charge of it all. So many things come out about him, but nothing was done. So that's why it happens. At least
big time money in collegiate athletics.
Well, sure.
It's just not any of it's not going to the athletes. And then anytime an athlete, how dare you try to accept improper benefits? Shame on you for trying to get ahead.
Shoes, you mean, or cars?
Anything, tattoos.
Yeah.
Jeanette?
How many tattoos can you get?
Whole body ones, apparently. You can't get enough. Some of these guys have been.
I don't understand that, but you do make some good points. And, yeah, it was just sad that a good coach like that is trying to say his program, hey, it's great, but he actually lost 2 games in the finals. I mean, so he's like the Buffalo Bills. They were there 4 times. What's that matter, right?
Yeah, well.
Now, the same thing can be said of him. And then he's making his comments. His comments will be remembered more than what his team did the last 2 times. And that's sad.
And you had the national.
This is his first time in the finals. They lost in the Final Four, I think, last year.
Yeah, they lost last year
right.
in the Final Four.
It was the last second bucket or whatever. Yeah.
But I just think that it's just
good point.
Like Smoky Jim always says, if you're gonna lose, you got to take it in stride. When you win or when you lose, both ways. You got to be, gracious in defeat as you are in victory. But my problem, like I said, is that in the last 6 minutes, Wisconsin completely just. They
were tired.
They just were gone.
Duke's 8 players warmed up.
Coach K really out-coached the other team, and I hear another celebration, so now we're probably up 2-0.
I'm going to give you guys something that nobody's talking about, and this is the reason why they lost. It's the only reason why they lost.
Ooh, that's bad news.
That's the only reason why they lost.
That's bad news.
Other than that, they would have won.
That's bad news.
Tony Romo is
Did you see J.J. Watt?
And Aaron Rodgers. So there was some winners.
He's
Aaron Rodgers
he went to Wisconsin.
How many rings he got?
Aaron Rodgers got a ring?
Huh?
Aaron Rodgers got a ring?
Well,
They say he's not really a fan, though.
Yeah, he's not.
They say he's not a fan.
Oh, no?
Just because of the Green Bay Packers being up there.
Oh, okay.
But
Did you
Romo
hear that?
is from
I
Wisconsin.
thought you'd investigate that stuff. You guys are looking for trouble everywhere.
I did not investigate. I didn't get my two
J.J.
sources.
Watt didn't go to Wisconsin.
Okay.
J.J. Watt
What was he hanging around?
he initially went as a tight end, a freshman tight end starter at Central Michigan with Brown. What's Brown's name for the Steelers? Antonio Brown. And then he left after his freshman year and transferred to Wisconsin to play defense. But he was a great tight end for Western Michigan. Little fiction, in fact.
And, I'm hearing great things since we're in the college of football.
Penguins up 2-0.
We're talking college football right this second. I'm really impressed with what Pat Narduzzi's doing with that football program.
Did they play yet?
He took 2.
Did they play football yet?
He took 2 wide receivers that weren't really good wide receivers and put them on defense.
That's good.
So now he's trying. At least we're not going to get
that for a while.
We're not going to get blown out on defense.
He's not a car salesman then. He's about players.
No, he's about players, and he's about putting in the work.
More people should do that.
Working hard, So blue collar.
I'm hopeful for him.
But here's what I don't like about the Pitt program. First of all, Penn State got 80,000 people at the spring game. Ohio State, the same thing. Michigan, same thing. Notre Dame, the same thing. Pitt is moving from a so-called NFL stadium, Heinz Field, and playing in a soccer stadium for the spring game.
Yeah.
I think that's ridiculous.
Can they sell it out?
Huh?
Can they fill it?
Yeah,
How did you feel
it.
whenever we held it over at Bethel Park High School?
Well, I don't like any of that stuff for the simple reason that if you're a big-time program, now you can hold scrimmages there.
Train them there.
Yeah, you can have scrimmages and spring practices there.
Yeah.
But you want to play, you should be able to, you have
But why would people come out?
And you
For a
come on,
spring
you got to
game?
admit though, you can't put Pitt in the upper echelon of college football. They're not even one of the top 25 programs in the nation in college football, though.
well,
So,
not even knowing their top.
come on, you can't compare, the Pitt filling up a $75,000 stadium when they're when they're like the 40th ranked team in the nation.
Yeah,
Like,
but how many do you
Well, how
think
many-
would come this spring game?
Well,
at least a couple thousand, I would hope.
Well, then that's why
family
one of
and
the smallest-
friends,
that's sort of
some
here,
alumni.
Let me give you guys a little bit
They got
of
some winners.
let me give you guys a little bit of the psychology that should go around in through college football. That's how you build a program. And Narduzzi is only using Pitt as look like a 3 or 4 years and out. What you want to do is you want to build a climate for your fan base. So you want to have the spring game at Heinz Field for several reasons. One, to teach them how to tailgate, to get them in
Here's
the habit. Who we got there?
We got Matt No Show Harkins said Heinz Field is under construction. That's why.
That's the reason. All right, now I feel a little bit better. Wow, they only use it 8 times a year, and they can't get it ready for the spring game.
They're
adding
adding
new
those seats
seats.
in the
Wow,
open end zone.
that takes forever to do.
Well, yeah.
It's almost
it does.
like getting a new desk in here.
It took them, 2 years to plan. It took them 2 years to plan.
We're 30 days and counting.
We're done. We're over the cruise. 6 days over.
Holy smell! I can't believe
Thanks,
Doug and
man.
Jim-
I appreciate it, brother. I was getting ready to
We're
hammer
7
the
days
Pitt
over.
program.
He said it. Wow, that was great. That was great motivation, Smoking Jim.
He's
Yeah.
a motivator.
It is. I'm super motivated now. I'm highly motivated.
Wow. Who knows what'll happen next? What about the Steelers, Smoking Jim? You're
Well-
quiet on that. Give me some insights.
Well, the Pittsburgh Steelers, the draft is right around the corner, and not only for the Steelers, but also for the Pittsburgh Gladiators. And
Yeah, how's that going?
We're looking for some talent.
You're in the player development division of the team. I don't want to air our dirty laundry. But
We're looking for some talent. A few good men.
I didn't
those
even know.
phone
I didn't even
numbers?
know the Pittsburgh Passion was started their season already. But I tell you what, the Pittsburgh Steelers are in need of and I'll bring it out next week. I'm telling you, I've been trying to hold this back, and I'm gonna hold it back for another week because I have yet to hear anybody in the nation. Do you know that there's a guy that led college football in interceptions, broke a record, had 14 interceptions this year, and he's eligible for the draft and will be in the
Taylor?
draft. And he's probably
Taylor?
going to be he's probably going to be a 3rd round pick, free safety.
no way.
This guy got ball hawking skills like you would not believe, and there's nobody talking about this
Did
kid.
he go to a big school?
He went to a huge school. He set a big school, Division I
Wow.
interception record. Now here's the problem:
He's
a lot of
married
people don't
and
know
is on
about him.
drugs.
Well, he could be that, but the reason is he didn't start until his senior year. And he came on and intercepted 14 passes. And I got to look at the coaching staff. This kid has ball skills like Paul Krause.
Wow,
That's a name from
you're
the
going
past.
back.
Put you in the mind of a black Mike Wagner.
Whack Mike Wagner.
Yeah.
I didn't know they
And,
had that.
So they're coming out with him now. But when you can
They're coming out
intercept,
with new hybrids all the time.
not only did he have 14 interceptions, but he got the rack yards. He had over 250
Wow.
yards on
Run after
returns.
catch.
Run after catch. So his run after catch is outstanding, and there's nobody talking about him. And that's a big thing in football is turnovers. If you can get a guy to turn the ball over, some would suggest the Steelers draft him in the 2nd or 3rd round, even though they like Mike Mitchell at free safety. But Mike Mitchell
Why do
could
they like Mike Mitchell?
Mike Mitchell could be a candidate to go to strong safety if they get this kid.
I think it'd be a candidate to go off the team.
I had very high hopes.
Have you heard
for
anybody
Shamarko
talking about
Thomas.
this kid?
I had very high hopes for Shamarko Thomas, and he has not
He's short.
lived up to any of my hopes or
He's short.
expectations when he
He's still
came
young.
into this league. He's not as young as you think, Levine.
Really?
Yeah.
What tight end is Shamarko going to cover? And that was my question in the Steelers when they traded their future third-round pick to move up in the fourth round to get him that year. I said, he's short. I mean, he's a ball player. He'll hit you, but tight ends now are 6'7". How's he going to cover? What tight end is he going to cover? Troy have a hard time covering tight ends.
Yeah, what's going on with
And
Troy?
Troy's
It's all
5'10".
quiet now.
Well,
What's your inside scoop?
Troy wants to play.
Does he? His wife doesn't want him to play. I got from reliable sources
But-
that
But we knew that Troy wasn't going to retire because he wasn't giving back no $6 million in signing bonuses. So, but Troy is still one of the better players on their defense, and I think that they should bring him back at the same contract rate that he's been playing.
no way.
Yeah, bring him back.
I want a discount rate, Levine. You know
Really?
the CBA. We want a discount rate. We want a
They
hometown
don't
discount.
have to.
You're
We
getting
brought
it?
back James
doesn't have
Harrison.
to. He
We brought
signed.
back James Harrison. If you want to stay, Troy, boy, pony up, give back a little bit.
I disagree because
Or go play in
James
Tennessee.
Harrison and his agent wanted more money than the Steelers offered and had to leave and take less money with Cincinnati, and then he come back. And he's still making less than what the Steelers were offering him back then. Whether he's good or bad or whatever, whether he's like a 27-year-old or 37-year-old, who knows. But Troy can still play. He has a valid contract.
Well,
They can just cut him.
Well, what happened with James Harrison? He was scheduled to make $7 million, and the Steelers wanted to cut him down to $4 million.
Yeah.
And
He hasn't gone back to that level.
He thought that was ridiculous and didn't want to take that pay cut, and so he went to Cincinnati for about $1 million or $2 million.
Yeah.
And now he's probably making a league minimum. But I blame the Steelers more so than Harrison. They should have honored that contract, just like they should honor Troy's contract. Are you ready for the Shamarko Thomas era to begin?
No, that's what I just was alluding to.
Well, who that's going to play? You can't keep getting rid of. You can't get rid. You already had the worst defense they had probably since you were born.
What, this
This
past
past
season?
year, yeah.
Well, then Dick LeBeau deserves a war medal on
Yeah.
his chest because
They
what he
should
was
have
able
got
to
rid
churn
of him.
out.
That's his point.
What
my
he was
point.
able to churn out, but
Exactly.
You know what's going to happen this year? You're going to see Mike Tomlin. Are you ready for Mike Tomlin to start being more involved in the defense?
Yeah.
Woo!
I'm hoping it'll
Keith
catch.
Butler and Mike Tomlin. Ooh.
hey, you know what?
They're friends of yours. I can't believe you're like that.
I'll
what?
be honest.
Sometimes, change is good. So
Well, we got
We're
a
gonna
minute
find
to,
out,
We got a
folks.
minute to go.
Oh, wow. Where'd the time go?
It just flew by with some conversational sports talk.
Well,
We
let's
covered
wrap
a lot.
as we wind down. We got the Penguins up 2-0 in Ottawa. So
Yay!
as we alluded to earlier, they're not on a power outage as we speak. So hopefully they continue to roll.
Well, they've done this before. I'm like Downing Thomas. After 3 periods, I want to know what the score is. One more than the other team. So we'll see what happens. I can't wait to get home to watch it. Thanks for watching our show. Thanks, Smoking Jim Frazier. Thanks, Zach Brenner. Appreciate all you do out there. Thanks for posting Skeet's business card the other day. That was nice. Skeet's liked it too. And we'll be at Duke's Rib House and Grill, 7:30 to 8:30. Don't miss us. We've got a lot of great guests. And you got to come on out and see what we do. Thanks to everybody for watching the show. Appreciate that too. John the Tiger Kiger, thanks. Time's almost up, buddy. Have a nice night. Stay Joey strong.